2014 theme of the Mayor and City Council, I'd like Mike Irwin to rise and lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming early. Absent with an excuse are Councilmember Orleans, Henry, and DiPolito. They may show up as this meeting is proceeding. I'd like Mike Irwin. First, I want to thank Mike Irwin and Kay Love and all the department heads for their hard work in putting this budget together. You were great help. I want to thank the council members for their... Councilmember Rich DiPolito is coming into the room. He is in the house. I want to thank the council for their helpful input in creating this budget. I will tell you that I consider this the staff's budget and council's budget, and it is a good budget. It accomplishes, I believe, everything that staff recommended and everything that the council asked for. And with that, Mike Irwin, if you'll present that budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council, it's my privilege to present the 2010 Mayor's proposed budget. This budget has no tax rate increase, there's no reduction in our city services, and there's no layoffs or furloughs in this budget. As we were developing this budget, we identified that the revenue for the general fund would be down by about $2.4 million, so we reduced the expenditures in the general fund by $5.5 million. There will be no new positions added in this budget. There were 5 vacant positions that were identified in the budget process for elimination, 4 in ComDev and 1 in administration, and those positions will be eliminated. And we were able to reduce general fund salary and benefit costs by about $1 million this year between the elimination of vacant positions, also the aggressive budgeting of vacancy savings, and then identifying a few other savings in that area. Some of the highlights of this budget. We will fund $5.3 million in general fund capital projects this year, but that is down from the $10.7 that was budgeted last year. But what we will do this year, the city plans to do, is road resurfacing and reconstruction, as was discussed. We'll continuation of the bridge maintenance and road safety programs. We'll do stormwater projects, and we plan to purchase 21 police pursuit vehicles during this budget year, along with other vehicles for city use. Our next slide just goes to our budget principles that we used as we worked through the budget process. These are ones that we've looked at in prior years. The balanced budget, revenues are greater than operating expenditures and maintenance capital. Use of reserves for one-time capital road reconstruction. And we made one adjustment this year, as given the fact that the economy is down from where it has been. This year we're purchasing vehicles from the reserve money, wherein previously we've used operating for that. This is just a one-time deal, and it's not a planned use of it from year to year. No tax rate increase. We'll maintain our current level of service, and we'll maintain the general fund's fund balance of greater than or equal to 3 months of operating expenditures, which works out to a little over $15 million this year. The next slides are just as we try to audit our principles. This shows that the all funds, our revenues are greater than operating and maintenance capital. This next slide shows the same thing for the general fund. And then this next slide shows how we're using our reserves for the road reconstruction, one-time capital, and then vehicle purchases this year. And then finally, it shows no tax rate increase. The proposed millage rate is the same rate as it was last year. We're also not projecting any growth in our digest this year. We've not received the 2008 certified yet or the 2009 estimate, but we're working from the last numbers that we received from the assessor's office last week. Oops. And it just disappeared on me. Well, just real quick, the next 2 slides. We'll maintain our current level of service. It's gone.
See if we can get that back up, because we've got some of these slides are important. Don't panic. You've got plenty of time.
Don't worry. I was just...
think that was from an IT cut there.
Charger? Yeah. Okay.
What if we just put up one of these? Use the overhead.
Yes, sir.
Use your overhead in your.
We can do that. Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll maintain our current level of service. There are no cuts that result in lost or diminished services this year. This just shows the calculation that will maintain our fund balance of greater than or equal to 3 months operating expenditures. And then our final slide is the pro forma. And we took this from 5 years to 10 years. And you also have a copy of that in the back of your budget document, the very last page. It's an 11 by 17 Z-fold. And what this does is it takes out the CIP for this year, which will be the $3 million, or the 3.1 or $3 million for maintenance capital as we've done in the past. Then looking at about 1.7 for roads. We also added in the ATMS this year and in 2 years from now, and then the stormwater project. And at the end of 5 years, we have just a little bit left of the $16 million in reserve. But at that time, our debt service comes to an end and all our debt is paid off. And so we're able to take the additional $7 million and put that toward general fund operating beginning in year 6. And Mayor, that wraps it up.
Council, this meeting is a meeting required by law to present the budget. We're not here to vote on the budget, but if the council has any questions or comments, we'll entertain those at this time. Councilmember Becky Reeves. Becky, yeah.
The doo-wop lady. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That actually was an old girlfriend of mine. I don't know whether I guess it was on those moves last night.
Okay. I may not have any comments after that one. But I do have a comment, Mayor, and I appreciate you putting the budget out there and just kind of livening this group up a little bit. Ever since we started this budget, we've been asking department heads to cut, and they've done a great job. Then we got our budget, and we've asked them to cut again, and we've asked them to cut again and again and again and again. And they've stepped up to the plate. Well, I think now it's time for this mayor and council to step up to the plate. And this is what I'm going to recommend. It's not a suggestion, it's going to be a recommendation. That before we cut salaries, before we cut positions, before we cut services, before we do anything to degrade the quality of life that our citizens expect, I think it's time that this mayor and council also do some sacrificing. And my suggestion is that we give up our salary for 1 year, which is $148,000. Thank you.
Any other comments or from council? Do you have any questions? I've got two reporters here. Everybody else appears to be staffed. Any questions from the floor? Councilman Eichelhart has a comment.
Well, one, I want to echo what everyone has said, or the two have said so far about all the staff work that's gone into this, and really appreciate all the work that's gone across departments to come up with the cuts we have come through and try to figure out how to make things work in this tough year. And certainly to our budget staff who's put all the things together that we've come up with. So really do appreciate that. And I think we've done a great job. And there's no question that this is one of the best run cities. But at the same time, I think every time you have even the best run company or city, there's always things that you can still figure out to do a little better. And I think by just accepting where we are, it says that we can't do any better. And in some of the information we were given late last week that haven't entirely had a chance to go through, but we do have over $1 million in hospitality, travel, education, training, overtime, deferred compensation, and some other areas. Now, there's no question that overtime that's related to public safety, to emergency issues, all those things, we shouldn't take a look at. But anything that's non-essential travel, some of the training that could be looked at to be deferred. I know that we also have duplication in purchasing and in permitting across a few departments. I still think there are things to look at, and I wouldn't say that we have miles to go before we sleep, but I think we have a few steps, and I think that this process is set up to take that time because we now have still the rest of May and into June to do that. And I do appreciate the work that's been done so far in the mayor's efforts to have us involved earlier, but I think there is still work that can be done, so I hope that we can look at that over the next 2-3 weeks before the final reading.
Any other comments or questions? Councilmember DiPolito.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, too, want to thank the staff for all the hard work they put into this. I know it's been months. For Mike, it's probably been a year, and we do seriously appreciate that. I do like the fact that we have put in the required maintenance capital, which from your presentation appeared to be less than the $3.1 million, but looking at some of the additional documentation we have, it's clear that it's in there. I was just curious what portion of that is coming out of the general fund, and how is that allocated across the budget, or is that a very complicated question?
It's just very quickly. In past years, we've funded all maintenance capital with our operating revenue, sales tax, property tax, such as that. This year, we're, as we talked about in the principal, we're also using our savings to pay for the vehicles. We budgeted about $1,393,000 for vehicles this year for general fund use. And so we're not using all of that, but we'll use about $1,159,000 of our savings of our general fund balance to help pay for the vehicles this year. And that would probably be the easiest answer here this morning. But if you need more information on that, I'd be glad to put something together and send it out.
That would be helpful.
Okay.
Also, to kind of summarize how much we are using from our unfunded reserves just for general fund and maintenance capital items. Do we have a dollar number? Is that 1.1 million, or is it something less than that?
The use of reserve this year for the maintenance capital, which is the vehicles, is the $1,159,000. The rest of the funding for operating and for maintenance capital, which the maintenance capital number is about $1,776,000 once you take out the vehicles. All operating and that part of the maintenance capital is being funded by current year revenues, property tax, sales tax.
Okay. I think you said that before. I just understood it the second time you said it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
I agree with Councilman Eigelhart. I think the budget is in good shape. I think there's probably some opportunity for some discretionary items that we can take a look at. I don't know that they're going to be significant at this point, but there probably are a few items we've had, or I've had some initial discussions with some staff on some items, and so hopefully we can tweak this a little more and keep from putting more of our reserve money into balancing this budget. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Tollison.
I'll try to go quickly so everybody can get back to work, including me. But I do want to thank staff and the mayor for this process. It's been a good process. I know it's been a difficult year. I know on the council there's been a lot of challenges on service versus cutting, and I think through that all, staff has done a terrific job and really stepped up to the plate, and I appreciate it. Part of our job is to always be the best watchdogs over the people's money. Fortunately, we have a staff that does that by nature already, and we appreciate that. As Mr. DiPolito mentions, there may be a discretionary thing here or there, but it's not going to be a huge amount. Huge cuts have already been made. And I would agree with Mrs. Wynn that if we start to go into the realm of cutting services that are going to impact our citizenry or our employees at a greater level, then the mayor and council must bear part of that responsibility. So, again, thank you to everyone. We value what you do, and we appreciate all the efforts that have gone in so far, and we're almost there.
Kay Love.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to say thanks to staff for all of your hard work. It has been an interesting budget process so far, and I appreciate you being good stewards of the monies that you're responsible for, and also some of the innovation that has come out of this process of us beginning to look at the ways that we can do things better and certainly do more with less. And I appreciate what you do, and certainly I appreciate your continued commitment to excellence, because the difference in magnificent and mediocre is all those millions of details in between, and you deliver that every day, and it certainly makes my job easier. So my hat's off to the department heads and to Mike and his staff.
Any additional comments from council? Any additional comments from the floor? One last item to cover. Pursuant to Charter Section Chapter 3, 160, I am asking that the council reconsider RZ 0817, which was the Coral Realty LLC petition to rezone E2 single-family property on Hartscrabble Road to Parkway to R3A. So that'll be on the agenda Monday night. We're adjourned.
This one died. I wish I could come up with some great explanation.